name's Mark Musick, and I have known and collaborated with Sam since 1974, so it was just a year after he started Raintree Nursery. And we first connected at the Northwest Conference on Alternative Agriculture in Ellensburg, Washington in November of 1974, which was the first regional TILF conference. And when I asked Sam what brought him to that conference, and he says, well, he didn't really remember the details, but he did remember being excited about the opportunity to connect with people across the region who shared his passion for food and agriculture and farming. And he used the phrase comrades in farms. And that it was the beginning of a decades-long friendship. And I remember Sam participating in several significant TILF events over the years, major conferences, and one in particular, he attended our regional planning meeting at Crabtree Farm in August of 1977, where we made the decision to incorporate as a regional nonprofit and start forming local chapters. And he would have joined with Mike Mackey in the first TILF chapter in Southwest Washington, which was chartered the following spring in 1978. And 2 years later, in 1980, late fall of 1980, he came up to Seattle for a major United States Department of Agriculture conference on the release of their report and recommendations on organic farming, which was the first really major survey of organic farming across the country. And he joined with, a dozen or more people from TILF Producers Cooperative in a meeting at Prague House, where we talked about planning and strategizing for building what we called in those days the Alternative Agriculture Network. And by that time, Sam had started his nursery, and he was he delivered trees to us up at Crabtree Farm, and in the late 1970s, and then he wrote at least one article that I remember for the TILF Journal. Sam was a regular financial supporter for the TILF conferences, and he had a Raintree Nursery booth in the trade fair, in the trade show, and there's this sweet photo of Sam with Michael Pilarski, who had started the Friends of the Trees, and so these two dear friends of the trees at the TILF's 40th anniversary conference a few years ago down in Vancouver, Washington. And more recently than that, in 2016, Sam came to Vashon Island, where I live, and put on a workshop for the Vashon Fruit Club at the Land Trust building, and then it was following that workshop, I gave Sam and other neighbors and our dear mentor Robert Norton a tour of the trees here at Vashon Cohousing. And where I live is a co-housing community of 18 homes, located pretty much in the heart of Vashon Island. And over the past 20 years, we've been planting fruit trees and berries, many of them from Raintree Nursery. One of our favorite trees is the Bramley seedling, which is a tremendously productive, very much loved apple that's growing in the backyard of one of my neighbor's houses. And the apple it's one of the few Bramley seedling on the island. And so we get calls from neighbors asking me, I have a few of those apples for a pie, and they are fabulous addition to an applesauce. And it's just a wonderful late season tart apple that pairs very well with sweet apples. And also we have Asian pear trees. We have a persimmon from Sam's nursery, luscious both Latarula and Desert King figs, and several different varieties of blueberries. So it's Sam is very much, and Raintree Nursery is very much a part of our community. And the most recent project that I did with Raintree Nursery was a year ago. Laura Sweeney was here and did a workshop for farmers here on the island with the Vashon Island Growers Association, introducing people to the art and science of producing nursery stock for retail and wholesale marketing. So as they really working to expand their network of growers for their trying to keep up with the demand for nursery stock. In terms of the future for Raintree, I know that we highly recommend their planting stock to anyone who asks, and we're happy to recommend Raintree Nursery. And when we have a need for more fruit, apple or pear or berries, that's Raintree's one of the first places we look for high quality nursery stock. The word I think of when I think of Sam Benowitz is devotion. He's certainly devoted to his family, his community. He was certainly devoted to building his business, and I was so thankful that he was able to find new owners to carry on the work that he had started. And he is so generous with his time, both with the Fruit Research Center, with speaking with fruit clubs here, both here on the island and I'm sure in other communities. And it was particularly poignant the retreat that he did. They helped to on the teaching on with Larry Korn and Mike Mackey at Ananda Farm on Camino Island, just a few months before Larry Korn died. And Larry Korn had been the editor of Masanobu Fukuoka's book, The One Straw Revolution, which was a major inspiration for us and for the permaculture community. And so for Sam to have that long association with friends and mentors and teachers, and he's been a major part of helping to build the agrarian community in the Northwest. For people who are interested in getting involved or more deeply involved in food and agriculture, I think Sam provides a good model because he was so practical. He really spent years perfecting the craft of propagating fruit trees and berries and developing a business. And he was just really down to earth, practical, understood the hard work required to develop a successful business, and most of all, just find what you're good at. Sam wanted to sink roots deep in his community, both in his neighborhood near Morton, but also in the regional permaculture and tilth community. And it was that determination that made it possible for him to build a successful business. And in the process, he helped to nourish hundreds, thousands of families across the region, and to contribute to providing roots, trees and berries for small organic farms across the region, actually probably across the country. But yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to celebrate Sam Benowitz and celebrate Raintree Nursery. They've been a major part of our community now for 5 decades, and I'm very grateful that there'll be opportunity to continue to work with Sam in his continued contributions to research on fruit tree research, and to collaborate with Raintree Nursery, both as a source of nursery stock, but also as a source of information and inspiration on growing high quality fruit and nuts and berries across the country. Bye.